Welcome to I Found This Great Book. My name is Curtis, and today, well, you know what? I'm just going to start reading off some of the accolades and awards, and then I'll tell you who we're talking to. 2022 Edgar nominated for Best Short Story. 2022 win for the Sue Grafton Memorial Award. Winner of the 2020 G.P. Putnam and Sons Sue Grafton Memorial Award. Best New PI in 2018, that's from Crime Reads. Has been nominated for the Lefty Award, Anthony Award, Seamus Award. I'm just going to stop, okay? This is like listing Michael Jordan's. This is like talking about Michael Jordan's awards. After a while, you just got to stop.
Just stop.
Bow to the greatness. And today I really have a great honor to talk with Tracy Clark, a fantastic writer, mystery writer. And we're going to talk about her new book, Hide. So, hi, Tracy. How you doing?
Hey, Curtis. How are you?
I'm good. Hope I didn't embarrass you with all those accolades.
You did a little bit.
Yeah. Okay, well, that's my job. Okay. So, you have this great new book, Hide, just came out. What's really great about it is the audiobook is available. And that's what I listen to. And you have a really great narrator, Shantae McCormick. And she also narrated the audiobook version of Midnight Hour. So that's that chilling anthology of crime fiction by 20 authors of color, one of which is you. So, so for people who want to read the book straight out, you can get the electronic version, you can get the paper version, but also for us audiobook fans, you can get that too. And hey, if you want to find this book, if you want to find the show notes, just go to ifoundthisgreatbook.com/151. Everything's there. So you don't have to start trying to write notes down while you're driving. I want you to be safe.
Yeah.
Just listen. You don't have to interrupt your walk. I've got it. I've got you. You can go get your copy. And we can all be safe. So this new series features a police detective. And your previous series was focused with the main sleuth with a private eye. But this one, a new sleuth, a police detective, Harriet Foster. So we start off and we find Harriet has had some serious things going on. Can you give us a little insight into that?
Well, when we first meet her, she's coming off of 2 months of personal leave. Something sort of tragic has happened. And she's sort of standing on the sidewalk in front of her new district, trying to decide whether or not she wants to go in or not. And that's where she starts. She does go in. She's got all of this baggage that I lovingly gave her because that's my job. Because I think that's where you sort of find out what characters are made of and who characters are. So I've given her some baggage, some grief, some mourning that she sort of has to process through. And she sort of pushes through the door on this first day. Not really sure she wants to be there, but, you know, being a cop is all she knows. That's what she's good at. And so she goes in. And I give her the worst possible assignment for a partner that I could possibly make up. And so in addition to all of the stuff she's coming in the door with, she's met first thing in the door with somebody that she sort of does not mesh with. They are automatically oil and water. They don't mix. And that's her partner. And then on top of all of that, I give her a serial killer case, which is just evil. I mean, it's just evil for me to do that to a character. But, you know, that's my job, to sort of see what these people are made of. It's like sort of steeping a cup of tea. The longer you do it, the stronger it gets. So whatever challenges that I can give my characters, Harriet and all the other characters too, the better off I think it is for the story and for the readers and for me. So we find out who she is with this terrible case. This craven killer is hunting the streets of Chicago and taking young women with red hair and blue eyes. And so that is her case. She's had a new boss, new team, new partner, new everything. and then of all the baggage that I've given her, and then we're off to the races. So that's Hyde in a nutshell. And then there's other stuff in there that I hopefully our readers will like too.
Yeah, and you will. She Harriet Foster, right from the beginning, you realize that this sleuth is a force to be reckoned with. But at the same time, you're rooting for her. So I'm going to give a little bit of a spoiler simply because you're going to get it in chapter 2. Uh,
Mhm.
so her partner recently killed herself,
Mhm.
and her partner for a long time. And she also has to deal with the loss of a child due to violence and then her divorce. So all of that
Mhm.
combined. And yet she makes that decision. She's standing there saying, okay, am I going to walk back in here and be a cop or what? And that is when you have all that tension going on inside of a person and then
Mhm.
what she has to deal with, it's really, really, it starts it off and you just want to finish reading because you want to see is she going to make it? You know, is she going to look? Is she going to lose it halfway
Look,
through? Is she? Is this story going to end with her sitting in the corner, going, oh,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, that I kind of like that. I kind of like that not knowing.
yeah,
But that's life, really. That's real life. We all have things that sort of pile up on us that we have to deal with, and it's the same with book people. I call them book people, but we're sort of reflecting the humanness that we all are. So these characters have to sort of act and sort of feel and sort of operate like sort of real people do, and I gave her as much as I could sort of comfortably give her, and then we can find out whether she rises or falls. And uh, the fact that there are going to be like 2 or 3 more books to go kind of gives you an indication that she's going to go all right eventually. So, Harriet's still there, still kicking.
yeah. And what's great about it is that everything is realistic. You know, it's not some crazy. You know, people. Oh, I just want to give a difficulty for the sake of a difficulty. These are things that you can imagine. Yeah, I could see how all of these things could occur, and yet her willingness and her desire to stay a police officer, stay a detective in the midst of l- things that would break most people.
Hmm.
One of these things would break someone, and yet keeps, she moves on and she's dealing with things that are the worst things that could be done. You know, police
Hmm.
never see people on their good day, you know.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. That's true.
So let's talk about some of the other characters, and you mentioned them. So let's get the painful person out the way quick. Her partner, Jim Larnigan, right?
Hmm. Yeah,
Why'd you pair her with him?
just to give her just another little needle prick, just another little thing that sort of chafes her skin. Uh, New place, I said, new boss, new team, and then this guy. Okay, so nothing can be easy for characters ultimately. You want to give them as much as you can to sort of see who they are. So I wanted to sort of give her a partner who she did not mesh with. After having a long-term partner that they clicked automatically, uh, they sort of worked well together. They were best friends. Bam, great team. And then this guy. And then right off the bat, there he is, old school cop. Nothing like her. He makes it clear right from the start that this is not his cup of tea. Working with females and females of color, or anybody that is not like him, or sort of come up through the department. Old school, you know who the kind of cop we're talking about, the big barrel chested, father was a cop, he's a cop, sort of a legacy person. And then here comes Harriet. So that's just another little thing to sort of prick at her and then to see sort of how she navigates that. But we're going to learn a great deal more about Lonergan in book 2 and 3 because I just can't leave him there. You just can't be
Hmm.
that guy. We have to sort of figure out why he's like that, what makes him tick, what's motivating him, what does he see in Harriet that he does not sort of, sign on for. And I think that's interesting for me to sort of discover. and also for readers to discover. They can't just be that. He's got to be something else. We've got to sort of dig below those layers and figure out what's making him go.
Yeah, and that's again, you make the characters human. They're not just cardboard
Hmm.
figurines moving through a story, moving through a plot line. They're real people, and you know, you're dealing with real things with a police procedural, and dealing with people is just messy.
Yeah,
You know,
in all areas. Yeah.
it's just messy, and they say the definition of conflict is two people in the same county. Once you can have an island with one person, that's good. We put one more person in there, and
There you go.
you got a conflict. Even though you got a whole island, well, there'll be a conflict. You're like,
Yep.
why? Because people are just messy. It's just that animal nature in us. Yeah, one thing that stuck out to me is his initial conversation with her.
Hmm.
And they were sitting at the table. She came in. So everybody, she's new on the job. She walks in, and her new boss says, "Oh, they have a real good conversation." And then she is told, "Okay, I'm pairing you with this guy, and he's a piece of work." And so he starts his conversation, but uh, as you read the story, you realize it's not so exceptional. That's pretty much him. Uh, and he's just asking her, start off with personal questions like, so you're married? Like, hello, can you say hi to me first? And then, are you married now? And well, no, I'm not married now. Then he asked her, are you gay? And I'm like, whoa, dude,
But
dude.
we all know people like that, don't we? We all
Yeah.
know people like that. And then I actually sort of checked with, some cops that I know. Well, have you ever worked with somebody like this? And they said, all the time.
Hmm.
But you don't have the choice of sort of picking and choosing who you work with. It's a big department. I think CPD has like over 13,000 sworn officers. 26% of them are female. A smaller percentage are females of color. So this is a department that's not set up for them initially. It's not really conducive to them. They make it pretty obvious that this is not the department that was set up for you, and so you just have to sort of fit in where you get in, and that's what she has to do. This is not her first asshole. It will not be her last.
Hmm.
You just have to deal. So this is the one you're partnered with. Didn't sort of hit off on the same foot, but you gotta go on. There's a job to do. The body has been found, and you guys are off and running. You have to go and you work together.
And what's great is she doesn't flinch. She's like, okay, I'm going to deal with this. She's not like, oh, woe
She's
is
no rookie.
me. She's like,
She's been in
yeah,
she's been in this
okay,
job years.
all right, I know how to handle this one.
Uh huh.
And when you
Just
think about
another one.
everything she's
Right.
dealt with, yeah. So that also sets up a good tone for it. It makes the story interesting. It's not just two people who are just talking about facts. It's this, oh, I can't believe he's doing that. And then she's got to deal with this. And, but it keeps making you, because you're just really awaiting, when is she going to punch him? I'm just, like, I've had enough. He keeps saying that. He keeps going up. He's, in the words of Charlie Murphy, he's an habitual line stepper. He just, just go right up to the line and step,
Yep.
step. But I think it must have worked for him, because he's been a detective for a while. So,
Uh huh. Yep.
but dealing with the world. But I'm glad we have a Harriet Foster out there. So there's I want to talk about her sergeant,
Hmm.
Sergeant Sharon Griffin. I was really impressed with her. You meet her again. You meet these folks in chapter 2. So it's not like I'm telling you about stuff that happens in chapter 28 here. So chapter 2, let's talk a little bit about Sergeant Sharon Griffin and her role.
Well, she is sort of no nonsense. She's got this team that she's got to sort of oversee, and she's got Harriet, who comes into her office, and she immediately is sort of worried about whether or not she's there 100%, and as any good boss would do, right? You've had this sort of tragic thing happen. You've got all this. She's aware of her backstory. She knows what happened, and she's worried that Harriet is going to be there and not sort of fall, through the cracks, or something tragic happened to her. And she tells her right from the jump, if I find you in a situation, I will beat your dead body, basically. So I'm here to help you. You're on this team. I want you to take sort of a leadership position in it, but you're going to have to tell me if you're off the beam or not. So she's straightforward, no nonsense. She's going to oversee this team and do the best fitting that she can do. She sort of partners her with this weird guy, first of all, to sort of see how that works out. She has a pretty good indication it won't end well, but that's her initial thing. She's also got a plan B set up. So in case that doesn't work, she's got something else that's sort of put in there. So she's watching, she's watchful, but she's also very on the mark and sort of observing everything. So that's Sharon Griffin. She doesn't mince a lot of words. She's not a great comedian. She's not out there cracking jokes. She's getting the job done.
Hmm. Yeah, and you get that, you can picture her. You- just
Yeah.
when you talk about her and you talk about how okay, and then she sat and folded her hands. Oh yeah, this we've all met that one person who's
See?
as soon as you meet him, you're like,
Oh, here we go.
this is business. There's no room for joke, smile, nothing. I better have all my stuff ready.
Yep.
And in that conversation they had when she initially was talking to her, and there was a point where Harriet Foster in her head said this line, "This job or nothing."
Hmm.
What was behind that? Why was this job so important? Why did she have to come back?
Because there's nothing else on the other side. Harriet is sort of a dual character in herself. On the job, she is brilliant. She knows how to work a case. She's been doing it for over 15 years. This is her job. This is her career. When she goes home and takes that badge and that gun off, she's stuck.
Mm,
She's sort of in a state of inertia, stasis. She's just there. She is in a house that has very little furniture in it. If you opened her refrigerator, you would find very little food in there. She doesn't have pictures on her wall. She doesn't have little tchotchkes all around. She is just surviving. So we have this character that we have to sort of pull together at some point, not in book one, but she's got to sort of learn how to pull herself up out of this hole she's in and move forward. And she hasn't yet learned how to do that or gotten to a point where she can get herself to do that. So yeah, I love that complication. I love the fact that she's great, 12 hours out of the day, and then the other 12, she's nothing. And so that's what that meant. She knows how to be a cop. She's been doing it for years and years and years. She can do it practically with her eyes closed. That's no problem. But she's not living. There's more to living than breathing, and she hasn't sort of gotten herself back to that point.
and again, that all of these things come into play, and it it's just eh, I'm telling you, it's a good book because it's going to keep you reading because you got to keep wondering when there's so many things. There's so many. Sometimes you read a mystery, okay, and there's one axe hanging over someone's head.
Hmm.
Eh, okay, but you've got the whole kitchen.
But
Every
that's real
sharp
life.
utensil in the kitchen you have hanging over our heads, and we're like, but it keeps you moving. You like, I got to keep moving because,
But yeah, but that's real life. We all have stuff we have to deal with. We don't have just one thing we have to deal with. Most human beings, if they're living, full lives, have multiple things they have to deal with on a daily basis. Some of these things these tragic things that happen to them, sometimes they can't move on.
Mhm.
Okay, people are just like that. Some people can sort of process and sort of find a way to sort of get through. Other people can't, and that's just being a human being. That's the personality. That's the upbringing. That's a whole lot of other things. And I wanted a complicated character. I wanted a character who has this weight of the world practically on her. She is guilty. She feels guilty for her partner's death because she should have been there. She should have seen the signs. She should have done something. She feels guilt about her son's death. She's out here serving and protecting. That's her job. She's covering an entire city, protecting and serving and doing all that wonderful things cops do. And she wasn't there when her son was killed. That's what she's dealing with. That's what she can't move on from. And so we have to sort of find a way, or I do as the writer, to sort of work her through those hurdles and to find some way for her to say, wait a minute, I've got to move this way and not that. This is not serving me the way it is now. And maybe in book 2 or 3 or 4, I'll put her somewhere where she can sort of, take a breath and come up for air and sort of live her life. But, in Hyde, she's not there yet.
Mhm. Okay. And she talks about that earlier about, okay, I need to put on the mask. I need
Hmm.
to put this front on.
Well, we all do that.
And she hides right and gets right in that. That's how I'm going to get through this day.
Uh-huh.
And it's fascinating because it is like watching someone. Okay, I'm watching you. It's like I'm seeing the person behind the projection you're showing, and this projection is dealing with all these crazy people. But then you always have that tension of how is this person really holding up?
Hmm.
How is she keeping it going? So we have this fascinating new sleuth who and what's great about it is, and I'm glad you said over the next 3 or 4 books. Okay, so that helps us. Okay, we don't want to be like, man, it's so much. You got to give me more.
I got time. I got
You
time to
got
play
time.
with it.
Okay, and then so we have a great sleuth that we're gonna grow as we go through the series and be interested in her, and then also her partner, and hopefully he'll evolve a little
He
and
has to. He
all
has
the
to.
things that are going on. But we also have this horrific crime. This crime against this woman where she's brutally mutilated,
Hmm.
and you have this serial killer, but he's picking kind of a person that's really, really unique. A person
Hmm.
with
Yeah.
bright red hair and deep blue eyes, which is
Hmm.
not a combination you see every day.
No, you don't.
Why
Only it's
that
like
choice?
I looked it up. I wanted to see what percentage of the population was actually redhead. At 12%.
Mm,
12% of the population is redhead. Now you would think about a killer who is sort of targeting a small group or a small sort of group of people in the population. How focused they have to be, how determined they have to be. He's not just out there taking anybody. He's waiting for that specific person, red hair, blue eyes. And that tells you a little bit about the personality we're dealing with, right?
mhm.
This is not a rash person. This is not a person who is lacking in patience. He's going to wait until he finds the perfect one. And I thought that was kind of creepy when I was writing it. And I kind of like that. I like the fact that he's not just out there, spree killing. He's waiting and he's hunting and he's looking for just the right prey.
And so how do you get in that person's head to create them? Because I
You
know
would think
that's not what you do every day. So how
no.
do
I mean,
you-
you would think it would be difficult, but it was miraculously easy. It's kind of fun to sort of get into a bad guy's head. Just because it is. Most of us writers are well adjusted and normal people, but it's kind of fun to sort of get into a brain that does not function the right way and sees things sort of at a kilter. And sort of does not operate within the confines of what we sort of uh, come to believe are human and societal norms. So it's kind of fun, kind of creepy, eerie. Um, but get it done. You got to get in all kinds of brains when you're a writer, not just your main character or your secondary character. You got to get the bad guy and the good guy. So, it's an exercise. It was kind of fun. I liked it. We might do it again.
Okay. I want to hop back to Harriet for a moment because the one thing I loved about you put little things in there, just like, oh, finally somebody's doing this. And it was just a little thing where you talked about her hair
Mhm.
and how she went back to natural and
Mhm.
went back to a short twist.
Mhm.
And you don't see that in, that because hair for black women, and now I'm a bald black guy, so I can only say so much, but that is such a sensitive issue
Mhm.
and a world where they get judged because wearing your hair a certain way. And it was just so great that you put that in there
Mhm.
and adding those twists. I didn't mean by that with her hair twist, but adding that in. And what other things would you think you add in that show her as a black woman, black detective that just get added in that bring that life that makes someone say, "Yep, that I know that."
Well, the hair, I just sort of when we meet her, she's 43, she's divorced, she's lost, basically everything. Um, she doesn't give a crap about her hair. Okay, she wants something that's simple, easy, bam, bam, bam. She's got all this other stuff to deal with, and so I gave her something that she did not have to fool with, basically. But that's where she is when we meet her. She can only do this. She can't do this and this. She's got only do the one thing. So that's where it came from. But for most of black characters or black women characters or black women in general, I mean, we deal with a lot of crap. I mean, it's not we're out there spinning the plates. We're not just dealing with just one little precaution or one little thing we have to deal with. I mean, we're dealing with it all. And I wanted Harriet to sort of be a character who, although she's stuck emotionally, she still gets the job done. She still does what she needs to do. She's got that vase in her house, which sort of with the marbles in it, and that's her sort of calendar, really. One marble per day, one marble since the first day her son was killed, and she puts one in every single day. That's how she gets through. And we all find ways to sort of get through. Book people are no different. So I wanted her to make her as real as I could possibly make her. And also the fact that she is working for a department that her community does not truly accept. So she's sort of seen through at the community as working for the enemy. She's in the department that she sort of looked at as other. So she's getting it from all sides. And I kind of like the fact that she's getting it from all sides. All the arrows are coming from all different directions. And she's in the center of that, trying to work her life out. So yeah, I put as much as it in there as I possibly can, just to make it as complicated and as real and as engaging for readers. I want readers to sort of recognize her as somebody who could be real if they sort of walked out of their house and saw somebody walking down the street that looked like Harry. I wanted her to feel real, uh, sound real, um, experience real things, and then find out how she sort of overcomes.
And yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that because that was one of the other things I wanted to bring up in that the time period based on the conflicts that are going on is it sounds very modern.
Hmm.
Like it's a year ago uh,
Hmm.
now.
Yeah.
Um, in terms of the tension that's going on in the protests, but at the same time, you have people like, yeah, but can you find this killer? Can you defend us? And
Hmm. Hmm.
uh, dealing with the interactions with people who feel that they're that balancing that she
Hmm.
does of we're not going to be the old style police of just stomping over people,
Hmm.
but at the same time, we got a job to do. We got to protect the citizens here, and we just
Hmm.
can't let people commit crimes. And that balance you see during this story, and a challenge, having for her being a black detective doing all the work she did to get to where she is, and then having other black people look at her like you're on the wrong side. But
Right, right. And
no,
she not only gets it from like the bystanders at the crime scene, right? The
hmm
the heckling that she has to sort of endure, but also the suspect's parents.
hmm
Now, okay, now they're looking at her as sort of working for the enemy, and she's in there to sort of just make sure that everything is done correctly. Um, Given the fact that she's sitting right next to, the old school cop who has other ideas. So from all circles, she's getting it. So I like that fact that she has to sort of navigate through all of that because that's a real thing.
Hmm.
That's the real thing that cops have to sort of deal with. Cops of color, cops who are other in a department that's not, of course, again, set up for them. And so, yeah, those are real tensions. Those are real conflicts. Those are real issues that they have to deal with.
So, where did you get the knowledge base for looking at the world of police and bringing that
Well,
to your book?
Um, I have cops in my family, and and people I can sort of ask, and I've sort of been around the dining room table as they've told these wonderful or tragic and sort of disgusting cop stories, and so I sort of assimilated some of that information and sort of got that sort of vibe and that rhythm of cops down. And when I sort of get stuck, and I often do, about procedure and how cops do this as opposed to that, I just sort of ask. And cops love to talk. They will talk your ear off if you buy them a pancakes or whatever, or a cup of coffee. So you just sort of ask. So I want to know why they are motivated to do a really tough job. I would like to know what kind of sort of tensions they sort of encounter with partners they might not, necessarily get along with, or departments that might not necessarily do what they needed to do. All of those things are interesting, and all of that stuff is research and information, and I just sort of pile it away. And then when I need it, when I'm writing Harriet or any other cop, or, in the books that I'm writing, that stuff sort of bubbles up. So I sort of assimilate the feel of it, uh, the sort of how they sort of operate, why, tensions they sort of deal with, procedure. I had to sort of ask, well, at crime scenes, I've never been to one. Who touches the body first? Who does this? Who does
Hmm.
that? What does a crime scene tape mean? Where does it go? I didn't know that there were two colors: yellow for the
Hmm.
out perimeter, red tells you that somebody kind of died, and you can't go beyond this point. But those little things, those little details, you sort of put it in there. I don't think readers are all that interested in the ticky ticky parts of it. Just enough to sort of give your characters some kind of gravitas or some kind of professionalism, and then you move on because the story, I think, is the most important thing. The story and the characters and their arc and how they get solve the cases and sort of end the case. So a little research, enough to make it sound good, and then I move on to the more important things or the more important things for me, which are character and whether or not Harriet's gonna, rise or fall.
And you do that with excellence. So
Oh, thank
you can check that off on your list of
you.
because you have a great story. It moves you. It makes you want to read. You're on my phone. I'm like, okay, well, I'll just sit here. I'm not going to go to sleep yet, but I'll just set it to just play one chapter. Just do one more chapter. Okay, now it's time to go to sleep. And, oh Lord, it's 2:30 in the morning. Oh
That is
man.
what a writer wants. My job is to keep your eyes on that page as long as I
Yeah.
can do it. So I'm glad to hear that. I
Yes.
mean, not for your loss of sleep,
Yeah.
but just
You know,
for my benefit.
Tracy did it to me again. Now I'm
Thank you
slugging
very
through the
much.
day. Like, oh man. Skipping lunch and taking a nap in the car because I was up listening to this audio book. Uh, so this is your police procedural, but before you had a whole series,
Mhm.
um, your Cass Rain Chicago Mystery Series
Mhm.
featuring Cassandra Rains, where she's a private investigator.
Mhm.
So, how has the process of creating these two books been different or similar? Where your sleuth is in a different role.
Well, the Cass books were more fun to write for me because she works for herself. She makes her own hours. She's breaking into people's offices and snooping through their files. It was kind of fun to write her. Not so much fun to sort of write Harriet because she's got a follow the law, and she could possibly lose her job if she does something incorrectly. So it's kind of stymieing.
Hmm.
The process of writing is the same. Each book is a mountain you got to climb, and there's no different from one mountain to the next. But the genres are a little different. So the cast books are a little lighter, a little funnier. Same city. Harriet's not a really humorous kind of a person. She's got a lot to deal with, as we sort of indicated. But and police have a serious job to do. She's got to follow the laws, follow the procedure. She's got to protect her job so she doesn't lose her pension. I mean, all of those things are concerns. But writing is the same, just a different genre, different side of your brain that you sort of have to utilize. But it's all good.
Okay. And the books in that series are Broken Places, Borrowed Time, What You Don't See, and Runner.
Hmm.
And four good books. And I had the pleasure of talking with you earlier, some time ago. We talked
Yeah.
about when Runner came out, and
Uh-huh.
uh, as I said then, okay, Tracy Clark reading her books is like getting on that one roller coaster. Your friend dares you to get on, you get on it, and the whole time you're like, ah! And at the end, you're like, oh, I'm going to do that again as soon as my heart catches up with my body.
Yep. That's the job, man.
That's
That's the
that's it.
job.
That perfectly describes what it's like. It's like you start, and also don't start if you look. I want to warn you, if you're studying for your dissertation and you is due in 2 days, you need to
Don't.
start this after,
Yeah. Yeah.
because Ms. Clark does not want you blaming her because you were sleepy during your defense. You need to
I spend an
finish.
awful lot of time to make sure that your eyes do not leave my pages. So if you got something to do,
Yeah,
you might want to hold
take
off
take care of that. Then after
and then
you
come back.
got your dissertation, you defend it, you can sit on down, you can read Hyde. And
But I think that has less to do with me and more to do with the characters, I think. I try to give readers characters that they will like and who they will sort of understand and sort of get invested in whether or not they, survive or whether or not they sort of learn something. If you don't give readers characters that they believe in or engaged with or invested in or care about, whether they're good guys or bad guys, they can care about the bad guy. But they have to want to know what happens to them. And I sort of write it that way, sort of keep them sort of in there, hopefully, fingers crossed, knock wood, so that they can find out whether or not these characters are going to get over and get by and get on. So far I've been lucky. I've got two really good characters, I think, and I might have maybe two or three more before my writing career is over. But that's where my head is. I'm looking for characters that readers will like and want to sort of follow.
okay. So the title Hyde, is there any, do we need to read? I don't want to spoil anything. So is it
Hmm.
like we want the reader to read the book to get the idea about the title, or can you share a little bit about that?
Well, it's a one-word title, but it has sort of a double meaning. So this killer of redheads, is hiding his victims under the city streets. So the first body is found on Chicago's River Walk. Another is found on the Lower Wacker next to the smelly dumpsters. But it also sort of pings on Harriet's situation. Here is a character who is hiding from her own self. She's hiding from moving forward. She's hiding from her life. So hide said has that double meaning. Yeah, it pertains to the crime, but it also pertains to Harriet and how she is not moving forward.
Okay. I think anybody listening is like, well, I can't wait till I get to where I got to go so I can go look at those show notes and find out where I can get my copy of the books. And you need to go, I found this great book.com/151. Everything's there. You find all of Miss Tracy Clark's books there. And again, this book is available with the audiobook also. Great narration of the book. And folks, okay, now I do not want you getting on Miss Clark's social media pages or going to her website and bugging her. She's got another book coming, December 2023.
Yep.
So you can read Hyde, get hooked, and then while you're waiting, got 4 other books: Broken Places, Borrowed Time, What You Don't See, and Runner. You read through all those. Okay, December's here. Okay, good.
Bam.
You're ready.
Yep.
Yeah. And so, but
Fall comes out, I think December 5th, and Harriet and her team return. And in that one, somebody is killing aldermen in the city of Chicago, which
oh,
the suspect list alone is like a mile long.
mm,
But anyway, that's the case. This killer is sort of taking 30 dimes in a little satchel, and he's hiding them on the body. So one of those satchels is sort of stuffed down the victim's throat, and the other times the bag is sort of found on their body in a pocket somewhere else. But that's the sort of payment for betrayal, and we have to figure out what these 3 aldermen did to sort of warrant this death. So that's Harriet's case, and she's got Lonergan there still, so she's got to deal with him too. So it never gets easier.
no. Well, first of all, they're going to have what, 5,000 suspects? Because,
That's what I said.
city
Yep.
politicians. It's like, man,
That's going to be a humdinger.
yeah. Like, who didn't want them dead? That's a question.
My street light's still out.
Yeah. Cannot wait. Again, everyone. Tracy Clark, award-winning author of the great new mystery Hyde, and also the author of the Cass Raines Chicago mystery series, Broken Places, Borrowed Time, What You Don't See, and Runner. And in December 2023, the next book in the new series, Fall, will be out. And the books are available as audiobooks, ebooks, paper books, all the ways you like to book. So you can see all of them. Just go to ifoundthisgreatbook.com/151 and just get your read on, folks. Okay. And be prepared. Again, once you start, that's it. You're going to be reading. You're not going to be able to pick it up and just set it down.
I hope that's the case.
Ms. Clark, Tracy Clark, thank you. Thank you so much. This has been such an honor. It's always an honor talking with you. I love your books. I love your work. Even though I miss some sleep, I love them. And you definitely have a fan in me.
Oh, thanks, Curtis.
Any last words you'd like to share with everyone?
No, I think I'm good. People can check me out on Twitter and all the social media things. I'm just sort of there hanging out, procrastinating most of the time. But, drop me a line. Let me know how you like the books, and we can sort of gab about it.
Okay. Sounds good. And I'll have your, what's your Twitter handle?
Tracy PC 6161.
Okay. I'll have that in the show notes too, folks. So don't stop driving. Okay.
Yeah. Tweet me.
Yeah. Send a tweet. Tracy, thank you. And
thank you.
Everybody, have a great reading day.